Back live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know what time it is. It's Renovation Nation time. Yes, another Saturday. Got microphone cables going everywhere, trying to get stuff in the new Studio 378. But hey, you're listening to Renovation Nation, coming at you live from Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chad Rowland, owner of RTM Roofing, host of this crazy show. And as I've been mentioning, got guests. Well, I have a new guest today we're going to get into. And this is I've actually talked about him before. It's pretty good, I'd say. I don't know, maybe bad a little bit, but I'm going to let you hold for a second while I go through some things for a minute before I introduce him, because not only can you hear us here, on 99.7, but I also started filming these shows. So if you missed the day live, or if you missed something, a segment or whatever, you can always go to follow RTM Roofing at YouTube, and or go to any Facebook, social media, TikTok, all that. It's just Facebook RTM Roofing, and you can catch a show again. And so anyway, well, let's see what else has been going on. It's cold, it's wet and cold, and it's some of you, well, a lot of you have actually been calling us finding leaks. And been listening to the show. So if you're having a leak right now, or if you don't know if you're going to have a leak right now, well, then call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751, 500-0751, or go to rtmroofing.com. Here in just a few more weeks, because we're still getting the website built, for all your roofing, siding, soffit, fascia, gutters, chimney caps, and those Velux skylight needs, repairs and replacements. And right now, for the rest of the year, we have our first responders discount. What is that? That's all military, active, reserve, Gold Star families. Also, police, firemen, first responders, nurses, emergency room workers, and anyone over 62. You get 15% off of all retail jobs, repairs or replacements of any project that we do. So if it's time, again, call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751, 500-0751. And by the way, that 15% off is on all retail jobs. Insurance jobs are excluded. There's different rules and regulations for that stuff, as I always say, but I've got to note it. So anyhow, I don't know if I was going to talk about anything else, because I'm ready to talk to the guy right here that came out to Studio 378, and that's Mr. Tate Sykes with IKO. IKO. I keep say IKO Dynasty. Is it just IKO?
It's IKO. It's IKO. The president calls it both of them. So kind of whatever comes out the mouth.
Okay. So of IKO, I always talk about Dynasty shingles. Well, IKO, that's their performance architectural shingle. And here's the man that represents them. It's not going to be hot. I love Dynasty. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
Man, we appreciate it. Y'all been partners for a while, and great partners. And man, I'm glad to be out here. This is great.
Yeah, I met you. When did I meet you? What was that? 2019? It was for 2020.
Yeah, 2019 sounds about right.
Yeah, because it was about that same year as when you started with IKO as well, wasn't it?
So I started with IKO in 21. I believe that's right. Yeah, 21.
Oh, okay.
21 or 22. Golly, I can't remember. I'm getting old.
Isn't it weird with the years? Isn't it weird with the years right now after COVID?
Ever
after
since
20,
COVID,
it's
man.
just been, it's a blur. It seems like it's yesterday or 5 years ago.
Yeah, my two kids, we were talking about that the other day. Like, we did so much, and our family life changed, and everything changed so much with COVID that, man, I can't separate what was before, what was after, and so we just started all over, it seems like. So.
How many little ones you got?
I got two, man. They're two little girls, not little anymore, 10 and 12, and
understand that.
Going on 25, it seems like. So
what sports? What's the sports?
Both big in sports. The oldest plays 3 sports in middle school: volleyball, basketball, and softball, and the little one is deep in this travel softball world. So
that's year round, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. We get a couple months off in the winter, and I don't know, about 30 days off sometime in the summer. And but yeah, it's all year round.
But didn't you tell me, or am I just thinking it? Oh, there's Miss Snakis all over. Right. She likes her camera time. But didn't you tell me you were coaching or doing some coaching?
I am, man. It's I grew up in the game of baseball. Played a lot of sports growing up, but baseball was the one that I gravitated toward, and just as I had my own kids, and we tried all kind of things. I tried to coach soccer, never played soccer in my life, but I love sports, big enthusiast, and now that my kids are in it, we stay involved as much as we can. And I'm probably like most of the youth parents out there. I probably thought I could do it better than somebody at some point.
How is okay? Now you've led me to a question. Before we get into talking about shingles and roofing and all this good stuff, how is it dealing with parents? I mean, you see the videos, out here and whatever the stories. Is it that bad, or is it?
Man, it can be, right? It's it sounds crazy in any leadership role, right? It's kind of what you allow to happen,
Fair enough.
on your tenure, right? You can set expectations just like I kind of do with my kids, just kind of, this is the way it's going to be. And listen, I might not be for you and you might not be for me, and that's all right. We'll figure it out.
Sure
and,
is.
Everybody's entitled to be a little bit different, but there is some craziness out there, though. I mean, you just can't shy away. You can't shy away from it. You go to enough ballparks or basketball gyms, and you're going to see somebody showing their tail. But
did you do any? We got to talk about some elk hunting, but did you do any other deer hunting this year? Did you get into any deer hunting?
Man, I didn't. I think I slipped out.
All right, that's a stripe off the shirt.
I know it's been years. Honestly, it's the youth sports, man, that for this season in my life, that's the priority, know, and it's working this. And, we've talked about it in the past, my history, I came from somewhat of the hunting industry, right? I started a youth hunting organization and a veterans hunting organization.
Tell me about that, because I remember that when I first met you, and that intrigued me. And what did you do? What was that? What was that about?
Yeah, so I worked with a ministry called Youth for Christ, and they hired me on to work in middle schools and basically do character building programs and that kind of thing. And
that's why you're a good coach. Okay, I'm tracking now. All right.
Yeah, and so I spent some time doing that, and then it just kind of naturally evolved to. I wanted to serve more than, I was still doing school ministry and still doing, parachurch ministry and that kind of thing. But I had a passion for the outdoors. And so found a guy came into our organization, and he was just as crazy about it as I was. And so we just got this loony idea of, hey, let's go see what we can do. And so it started out taking kids, at-risk kids from the inner city and that kind of thing, and marrying them up with hunters and getting them out in the wilderness and teaching basic survival skills,
which everybody should know.
Absolutely,
yeah. It's like swimming. Everybody should know how to swim.
Yeah,
you don't have to go to the water again, but you need to know how to
exactly
swim.
Right. And then also, man, just getting them out and taking kids who've never had the opportunity to leave the walls of a city and put them out in nature and put them in a deer stand, and man, the conversations that come in that deer stand.
That's what it's about,
buddy.
It's not about shooting a deer all the time. I mean, that's you get whatever, but it's sitting there watching the sun come up, listening to stuff you've never. I hear stuff all the time that I've never heard. There's I'm like, what 100%. Was that?
100%.
And if you've never experienced, and I grew up in the country, I grew up in a rural area and in McMinnville,
there's
the city
something
and the
about
county.
15, 20 foot up in a tree, though, that it gets even quieter.
It's a perspective change. You better believe it gets quiet.
100%.
When you can hear your sleeve move just by stretching your arm, that's quiet.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. But, a couple of the volunteers that we had for that were former military. Yeah. And they were like, man, what do you think about running one of these for disabled vets? Okay, let's give it a shot, right?
Yeah.
And, a lot of my family was military, great-grandfather and on and on. I never was, but obviously had a great respect for what they do, and have done.
100%.
So we just decided to see what happens with it. And, man, the first time we got a veteran out, I think he's still the most living, decorated veteran from the state of Tennessee.
Really?
And so Christian lives out of Memphis, and he was blown up in special forces and lost both legs and part of an arm and a hand. And man, our first time out with him, we took him and his dad out, and I was able to call him in a bird, and they doubled right in front of me. We got it all on video and everything.
Nice.
And so from there, it kept growing. And for about, 7-8 years, I ran the governor's turkey hunt for the state. for all the disabled vets.
Okay.
Actually, a venture I'm actually taking on again this year. So
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
man.
keep me informed on that. I want to know
Will
about
do.
that. If there's something that
Will do.
I could do, or RTM Roofing could do, or whatever,
For sure.
I'm actually looking to do a lot of stuff this year.
Yeah, well, I'll keep you updated.
So
It's-
10th year.
Yeah, it's coming in here pretty soon. It's usually March, April.
Oh, that is right. I'm sitting there thinking fall.
Yeah,
but
man,
no,
it'll be on us
there is
quick.
turkey season. When?
It'll
Yeah,
be-
was it April? Late March? 1st of April? Do you know?
And I knew you were going to ask that. And it's,
No.
it's yeah.
It's not my season. You don't see any turkey guns around here. There's all
Right.
kinds of others, but it's usually not a turkey
Right.
gun.
Yeah. So late March or April, somewhere in there.
Okay. Well, yeah, definitely let me know on that, though,
Yeah,
if there's something that
absolutely.
we could do.
Great
But
time.
if not, next year.
For sure.
So what about the minus the veteran hunt, is anybody still doing the other hunt, or did it continue, or did it just fold up and
So
just ran
the-
its course?
There's still a few guys. There's a few guys who still try to do it just kind of on their own, who we trained up. We end up training up 10 to 15 guys.
Nice.
And,
so it's still continuing in some aspect.
In some aspect.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when my own kids came and I was dealing
Li-
with them,
life-
sounds terrible.
Life
but
happens, doesn't it?
It does, man.
Yeah.
And it happens
Yeah.
quick,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And it became, obviously, the family became my priority.
100%.
And as they got into ball playing age and,
Mm-hmm.
there's a family and responsibilities come along, my hobbies tend to dwindle a little bit. So
Look right on cue, the hobby.
That's
I
right.
love the hobbies. I've got too many hobbies, actually. And but we're sitting here with Tate Sykes, representative of IKO. Yeah, they're the shingle people. That's what I call it. Well, there's a lot we're going to talk about because, number one, RTM Roofing is a certified installer of IKO, residential and commercial. But come on back in 3. We're going to sit here with Tate and talk about some other stuff. You listen to Renovation Nation. See you in 3. And we're back live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know what time it is. It's Renovation Nation time. Dun, dun. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Another Saturday. Have you got enough rain yet? I know more cold is coming. Which I want more snow. But before I talk about snow and your roof and the great shingles of IKO, because we got Tate Sykes here, I'm going to tell you, you're listening to Renovation Nation live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and I'll just continue. So we were leaving that last segment, Tate. We were talking about the things you were doing for the veterans, the hunts you were taking them on, and then before that was, did you say special need kids? Is that what? Or what was it?
Like inner city kids.
Inner city kids.
Yeah,
Inner city
at-risk
kids.
kids, that kind of thing.
And we were talking off air, and I'm like, well, is anybody still doing it? But how do you start that? If there's people that would want to do, before we get into shingles, we got to talk some IKO. We got to talk some IKO. But how does someone do that? Do you know? Do you remember, or did you just get involved?
So I was already working with a nonprofit, so it was easy to create a subset underneath that, right? So we were just able to had to do a little fundraising, right, to get some initial funds together just for operating.
Yeah, because nothing's free.
It's not. Golly, it's expensive. And
Right.
And most of it is, and what we did, we had the guys, the volunteers, if you will, they'd provide a bow or a gun or whatever.
Yeah.
But, we wanted to make sure the guys were decked out. They had their orange and they had some camo if they needed it. Kids the same, right?
Yeah.
These kids are not going to have a stitch of
No.
camo in them, right?
No.
And so we had some partners that came on and joined us and donated a
So
bunch
it's just
of stuff.
like,
and,
so it's just, I get what you're saying. You just go out and start talking,
Man,
number
just
one, come up with a thought,
just putting boots on the ground.
and then get on the ground and start talking what the thought that you just thought of to go do.
Absolutely.
No, that's
Absolutely.
beautiful, man. No, that's great. I know we got to go to, was that last year or this year? Heck, I'm even confused.
Yeah,
sometimes.
man, it's just about 3 or
That
4
was-
months
that
ago.
was last year.
24.
I'm lost.
24.
I'm still lost.
Yeah.
That we got to go on an elk hunt out there in Colorado. Me, you, and Daniel, and Madman. I can't.
Fred. Fred out there.
Fred.
That's
I love
right.
Fred. What's
Yep.
up, Fred? But yeah, that was. You'd been elk hunting before. That was I talked about on the radio. That was my first experience.
Nice.
Right? And
Yep.
you knew that, but I told everybody. I told the story out there of being out there, and yeah, that was pretty cool, man.
Dude, it's unbelievable out there. I'm born and raised in Middle Tennessee. I live within 20 minutes of where I was born. So this has kind of been my world. And so to go out west and see what that country looks like, and then to be able to dive into the passion that I have for whitetail and stuff here, and be able to do it. I didn't never dream I'd do elk hunt. And so we've been the last 2 years, and I was fortunate my first year to take a nice bull, and I was hooked. So I don't foresee I don't foresee skipping a season, but we'll see what happens. Right?
No,
there's some financial things that kind of come into play on that. So
yeah, it wasn't a bucket list, but it was on the bucket list.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For
to me, I've always thought that'd be cool, but and I'm like, when am I going to go out there? You got to draw tags or tag draws, and so there are and they're not, and it all depends on where you go. And
absolutely,
but no, man. it was fun, and staying where we stayed, that was beautiful. The scenery, the backdrops, the property of Tyler.
Yeah.
Tyler, the man. He is the man.
Incredible.
And his wife as well.
Absolutely.
Lovely people.
But it was just, man, it was great. And, just like we did with the kids and veterans, all that kind of stuff, to be able to take it, bringing it full circle for the customer aspect of it, right? Just being able to build that relationship and having all three facets, right, of manufacturer, distributor,
yes,
and contractor there.
Yes.
And it was awesome. And we just had a great time.
It's, the hunting was unbelievable. But you're right. It is sitting down and talking, because I did a show a while back. Personalities, it's relationships, right?
100%.
It's products are products, and IKO is a phenomenal product. But there are other shingle brands.
100%.
Right?
Absolutely.
And good is good, but it's the relationships you build and how that someone's going to back what they're promoting, installing, whatever it is. That's where you got to be in a foxhole with somebody, because stuff goes wrong.
It does.
With everything.
It's going to.
And I've always talked about we're certified in multiple brands, but my number one is IKO, and Dynasty is my preferred shingle.
Yep.
Right now, there's other great the class 4s, get the Nordic and things like that. But I love the Dynasty. That's just my deal.
Right.
But to know that I've only had 2 issues from that one storm a year and a half ago, out of the hundreds of thousands of square feet of that shingle I've installed.
Right.
And then it performed like it did, as well as the one issue where we did have to have there was a warranty, needed warranty to come in with a little discoloration. On one, it was easy. There wasn't no pulling teeth. It was, we installed it correctly. You guys came out and went boom, 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 boom. There you go.
Yeah.
Everybody's back on the merry way. That's what you pay for, is my point.
Absolutely. And that is one of the unique factors of ours, man. We're still a family-owned business, but little known fact, worldwide largest manufacturer of shingles. I was
wanting to say that, because everybody knows certain brands in America.
That's right. That's right.
And they know GAF, they know Owens Corning, they know Certainty. And all good brands. There's nothing.
Sure.
There's nothing wrong with them.
Absolutely.
But everybody thinks they're the biggest. And really, when people go, I've never heard of IKO. I'm like, well, they're you might not in America, but in the world, they're the largest.
Yeah. So it's widespreading a lot. Probably. Forgive me, everybody, for not knowing the actual numbers, but a big chunk is in Europe, right? And so,
yes.
But man, we're thriving here. We're growing here. The family aspect of it trickles down from the top, right? You know, when I see the owner and president and David at our meetings and everything, he calls my name before I call his, right?
Yes.
We're shaking hands, and very, powerful, upstanding, great family that they're from up in Canada, and.
It's 3. Is it 3 brothers? What's the? Can you? I always get confused too.
So currently, it is. So it's David.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot there, but
man.
Don't worry about it. I knew it was always a family deal.
It was. So Isidore Kaczynski is IKO.
Yes.
Okay. So Isidore Kaczynski organization, and that was David's grandfather. Okay. So he came over as an immigrant, and
what a story!
And they started their business up in Canada as basically a roofing supply, and then they just kind of kept going from there and building from there. And now, as the company has grown and the family has grown, that's kind of the only criteria for running the company is that you're a Kaczynski, right? So it's gonna trickle down. It's gonna stay in the family, and they just keep expanding. And now to the point that we are the only roofing company that is completely vertically integrated. So we own I was going to mention that. Of it. And man, that's
so what does that mean? So what does that mean for somebody that just may not know what you just said.
Yeah, man. So from our granules and the mining of the granules, we own the mines. We mine our own granules. To the glass mat, we
I remember back
manufacture-
in 2020 or some of that supply shortage. That's only certain people made granules, and only certain people made
right.
X, Y, and Z. And that's what slowed everything down. Everything
That's
just
right.
shut down. But I remember IKO. I can't remember how vertically integrated you were at that moment, but we never slowed down.
Yeah, man, fortunately, we don't have to a whole lot.
Yes.
We're not completely immune from it. I mean,
No.
as in right now, I think everybody's a little bit slower than we'd like to be. But
Yeah.
I
That's
think
the
it's
market.
it's nature of it, right?
Yeah.
There's ebbs and flows and everything, and especially this industry.
Trump's saying everybody ain't got time to hadn't had enough time to get their money back yet. It's just been taking these last
we're
4
working
years.
on it. He's working on it.
Yeah,
So,
boy, isn't he? It's crazy. But anyways,
Yeah.
we'll continue.
So, but having that vertical integration and owning pretty much every single part of our process, it's one, availability, right? We are kind of the master of our own domain, if you will, right?
If you
So
run
we get
out
to
of
hold
something that you mine, then that's on you.
Absolutely.
You should see that coming, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so being able to take that and then pass all that quality control that we have, being able to make all the product identical
Yes.
across different plants and whatnot is unreal.
I've had very, very few ever and usually the only issue I've ever had, other than that severe windstorm, which the shingle performed as it was supposed to, in my opinion. I always call it a Volvo. We go to this next segment. I want to talk about that because that's important to me because that's what's on my roof.
Right.
In this market.
Absolutely.
Different markets, different things, whatever, right? I got 4-inch hail coming down once a year. I'm probably going to upgrade to the Nordic,
That's right.
And if
That's
Nordic
right.
doesn't take it, then I'm going to go the next step up,
Hey, we'll keep climbing it.
We'll keep climbing it. But anyway, sitting here with Tate Sykes with IKO. I'll say IKO Roofing, but they're IKO worldwide. And talking, from hunting to doing good to a little bit of everything. Now we want to talk about protecting your home when we come back. You're listening to Renovation Nation, live on Super Talk 99.7. See you in 3. And we're back live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know what time it is? It's Renovation Nation time. Yes, and if you're just tuning in today, you can listen again tonight from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. here on Super Talk 99.7 and catch an encore of this show. Or in the meantime, you can run to YouTube and listen to, I say run to YouTube, run to Facebook, or RTM Roofing's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. There'll be links there to, I don't really call this podcast. It's just a live video of what we're doing here. Here at 99.7 and out here on the hill at Studio 378, because, this is Renovation Nation, and today we're renovating your shingle manufacturer. And the one in the bullseye target right now is Mr. Tate Sykes of IKO, good friend of mine. What is that then? In 2019, that's 6 years?
6 years.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. My daughter was 13.
I remember. It's
yeah. And so yours have been like 5 or 6 or 4. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yours were little. I remember going, that was a good age. I remember that age.
That's right, man. It's all fun. Santa's going to fly by, and by golly, it has.
But I tell people, especially like Tristan, my stepson, Kim's son. They just had a little Charlie. She was born on my birthday.
That's awesome.
And the birthday party's not about me anymore.
None.
Yes,
you're toast.
I
You are
won.
toast.
So, but anyways, I was telling him some things, and he, when you hadn't had a kid the first time, you're like, okay, oh man, yeah, I got you, yeah, whatever. And then he'd said some things back, like, hey, yeah, you were right on. I said, I wasn't gonna lie to you about that. I said, but
that's right.
Enjoy it.
Most
because
definitely.
it seems like the longest yard right now, the longest day, the longest weeks, at times.
Absolutely.
But Kim and I went to Charlotte, North Carolina Sunday and watched last Sunday and watched Saren playing. She's traveling with the A-team, play Queen's University. They won.
That's awesome.
40-25.
She's killing it, man.
She's killing it. Yeah,
that is so cool.
The coach. Before we jump on into some more shingles, though, the coach, after the game, went up and saw the coach, and he didn't remember me at first. Right? I get it. I'm just a little disappointed, but no, I'm kidding. I'm going, hey, coach, Saren's dad, Chevron, and he's like, oh yeah, hey, how you doing? I said, how you doing? And we sat there and talked for a second, and all of a sudden he goes, I need to tell you something about Saren. And I was thinking, oh Lord. She's never done anything.
Right here.
If she's done it, what has she done? And but no, he was giving. He goes, I can't say this to her, but she's not out kicking her coverage. She's getting the coverage of her kick, if you know what I mean,
That's
right?
awesome, man.
And
That's
she's only
so
been
cool.
playing since 11th grade. And that's when they started rugby at Father Ryan.
Right.
And but now she's here on Lindenwood Lions, one of the number one teams in the country.
Dude, that's awesome.
And they're killing
So
it. And,
cool,
and they're
man.
killing great kids. I mean, I call them kids. They're
Young adults,
I know, right? But anyways, I'm not going to get off on all that, but I had to throw it out there. It was I wasn't really patting myself on the back, but I was like, dang, good girl. You know, I'm proud of her. Very proud of her.
Most definitely, absolutely. Y'all done a great job.
So, but yeah, she's better than me. That's why when he said, I got to tell you something, I was like, oh, Lord.
Yeah, I pray to God mine will do that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, you raise them right, they'll make the right decisions. They got to fail. Right. Kids got to fail.
For sure.
I've failed. You've failed. I know you have.
You got to let them do it.
No, I'm just kidding.
You got to let them do it.
Yes,
know?
you do, and that's hard.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing, I believe it was. Even when my daughter was little, I could see, when they're doing something, you can see they're about to get in an accident, right? And you can see it's going to emergency road trip, da-da-da. And they're like, no, don't, quick, stop right here.
Yep.
You got to let them fall.
Absolutely. We don't baby our kids at all. There's that, when they were little, there's that scream where they're hurt, right? That was about the only time we ran.
Yeah.
And so that's how I was raised, and that's how we're trying to do with ours. But it's you got to let them fail, got to let them fall. I agree.
That's right. But anyway, sitting here with Tate Sykes, IKO, and talk a little dynasty. And I wanted to bring up, we're talking about shingles and why I have on my personal roof IKO Dynasty, right? And it's because in this market, to me, it's about the wind.
Correct.
Hail's one thing. You're going to get hail, but a lot of shingles, unless you're getting class 4 and above,
right.
An inch and a quarter hail or something the quarter size and above, it's going to damage just about anything.
That's exactly
Doesn't matter which brand, right? So if that happens, well, that's insurance, and we'll deal with that then. But the amount of wind we get and the storms, the wind storms, because
right.
Wind brings hail. Hail doesn't, let me say this. Hail brings wind. Wind doesn't always bring hail.
Correct.
So I want protection from the wind. And that's why I love the Dynasty with the Sure strip in the back.
Yep.
Or the Armor Zone, sorry. I said that was a curse word.
Hey,
that was a curse word.
We're good. Hey.
That was the Sure strips in the front of another brand, and that's what I don't like. Even though it's a good shingle, I want it in the back. I want my best defense last, not first.
That's exactly right.
And what do you say about the Dynasty? Is there anything that pops out with you on it, or
just that, right? So if blow-throughs are a common problem in this industry, right? Because listen, we got hard workers up there, right? Mm-hmm. And they don't always have their gun set to that right setting and whatnot. And
we check ours twice a day.
That's right.
But,
and so it's
just putting that out there.
It's but they're blowing and going, man.
Yes.
And so if you get up there, if they're running a hot gun, and in my mind, if that layer's on top, if they're running a hot gun, it blows through that asphalt's not stopping it.
No.
Right? It's gonna keep on rolling. So
and your shingle will still be there for a while.
That's right.
But it's your subject then.
That's right. And so the Dynasty, ours is on the back. It's kind of that catcher, right? So if you are running a hot one, it's still going to be able to catch that nail head a little bit.
The two properties that we had, and it was only like on one property, there was 2 shingles, and they broke like a 3-tab.
Yep.
It did not pull, which is insane, because usually it's the whole, that's the thing about an architectural shingle. It's 3 foot wide, give or take. And it takes at least 110, as they say, or 120 to unseal and take it away.
Right.
This is the standard architectural shingle.
Right.
Your GF Timberline, your Landmarks, even the IKO Cambridge.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
So that with that stripping back, what I found out was it pulled through the asphalt. The shingle lifted up, right?
Yep.
And it pulled through the asphalt, but it did not. That strip held the ground.
Absolutely.
And that was and on both of them, to the point it literally broke them. And that blew. And let me calm down. I'm getting excited here.
Yeah.
Since it did that versus the whole shingle going, what happened was there was no leak.
Right.
Now you can always have 2 other shingles meeting under there and have a rain channel on your subject, but there was no leak, and it didn't take the shingles above it with it.
Correct.
So that was an easy repair. We didn't even warranty those. I didn't even call going, hey, I know it's big winds, but that should be. I'm like, I'll fix it. I got it.
I remember you sent me some pictures. And like, this is why we do it.
Because I call them a Volvo, right? Now, I don't own a Volvo, but Volvos, as they used to say, or I remember, unless I'm crazy, were built to crash.
Right.
You don't want nobody to crash. You pray they don't. Right. But if they do, it's built to do what it does, to protect you.
Absolutely.
Well, I always correlated IKO Dynasty to freaking Volvo. They're built to do what they do, and yes, they can fail. Right? They can fail because some people think, that's supposed to be. I'm like, no, it's built to crash in situations just like that.
Right.
And it did it.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, my hypothesis is now a doctorate.
Right. Absolutely. And that's why that's our Dynasty and Nordic make up our performance brand, right? And that was something that we launched as a marketing initiative a couple years back, and that's just what it is. That's what. And
people don't know Nordic's a Class 4.
That's correct.
And it has a modifier. Is it considered a modifier in it? But it's able to absorb shock, number one, from hail.
Nordic is essentially a Dynasty, right? And it has an additional coating, right?
That's the way they did it.
Correct.
Okay.
And so it's like an additional coating that's done. So I think it's 80% of the colors. They change.
Oh, they look very similar.
They're very similar, right? That coating does add a different sheen, that kind of thing. But it's they're essentially the same shingle. One is just has a higher impact rating. Yeah. And they rated the Dynasty for Class 3.
Okay, because I for some reason I had modifier, but either way, because that's usually Class 4 anyhow. Whenever it's like a Malarkey. You remember Malarkey? They had the modifier in it, but you put them down at 20 degrees, 5 degrees.
Yeah.
I'm not.
We're
not working.
That.
No. It's 40 degrees or above. And I actually talked about that a while back here. That it's cold weather. I mean, people do what they do. We can do repairs, but when we're installing systems, because all ours are 97% are IKO Dynasty roofing systems.
Correct.
Not a la carte pieced together. So we're going for the full 15-year no matter what.
Absolutely.
And then for our clients that want to upgrade to the 20.
Right.
And that's not a big cost.
Well, no, it's not. And I love that that's essential for you guys. Throwing it back, and I don't know that y'all have been there's a brief time that I came and worked at RTM for a little.
I wasn't going to mention that, but
it's okay.
I didn't know what you wanted to. Yeah.
No, it's
that
fine.
Was way back.
It was way back, but man, that was the standard. Yeah. Right. There's no shortcuts in this.
Right.
There's no. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it right.
We do a complete roofing system.
That's exactly right, and that's why that has positioned you guys, for success. Yeah. Right. Because we build our things to work together.
They're supposed to.
Correct. And so do other manufacturers, right? We're not alone in that.
No, that's exactly.
But y'all taking the time to do that and utilize the system, it just reinforces the whole product.
Right. So when there is, because there's always can be an issue at some point, right? And if it does happen, then as a manufacturer, you go out there and look at it going, well, let's see here. They didn't use our capping. They didn't do this. They do that. They high nailed. They whatever. That's not warranty, people.
That's right.
Then manufacturer, because it has to be installed per your protocols, and within the margin of error of ranges, just like everything, all shingles do.
Right.
You want GF's warranty, you want certainty, you better be piecing them parts together.
Absolutely, and that makes our job as the manufacturer much easier to have conversations, right? Because when you guys, when you have a couple times had to call in and look at it, and we did our full inspection and sent out the shingles and. They're like, look, man, they checked all the boxes. They did everything just right. We had a failure. Yeah. And so
fix it.
We fix it.
Move on.
And we move on. And we keep on
go.
rolling.
Next.
Right?
Next.
Absolutely.
Keep going.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a numbers game. It really is. And we put a lot of numbers on the board. With us. We pulled up, I think I showed you when we were out there doing the elk hunt, the map. If not, I'll show you during one of the breaks, maybe right now, of all the jobs we've done. And at least a dynasty of ones we picked out, and when you zoom out, it's a blob.
Oh, wow.
Of the whole mid-state.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Not surprising.
We're sitting here with Tate Sykes, IKO. You know I love the dynasty. But anyways, he's representative for IKO here in our area. And, you're listening to Renovation Nation. Call RTM Roofing. It's time for your inspection. I'm not mentioning that, but we'll mention it next segment. Come on back. We're going to sit here with Tate and, I don't know, just have some fun today. We're back live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know what time it is. It's Renovation Nation time. Coming at you live. Yes, we are. It's Saturday. Another day, another dollar, another IKO roofing story we got for you. Sitting here with Tate Sykes of IKO. And they don't only do residential roofing materials. They also do commercial roofing materials, which I got to get Kevin Mannix on. You know, I talked to Kevin. He's a golfer.
Is he?
You don't bet him.
Really?
I didn't, but I'm just saying you got to watch him.
I didn't know that.
I'm not good at handicaps and all that.
Right.
I don't always understand. I'm just, what I mean. I'm doing too many other things sometimes. But no, I wouldn't. He might be.
Joke.
Is scratch like a 1-on-1? Is that like you're going straight up?
So, no, I mean, scratch is basically you're shooting par every time. I mean,
That's okay.
Scratch,
So he's subject to be a scratch.
No joke.
He could be subject. Not every time, but that may be a +1, +2 then or something.
That's crazy.
He'll tell you no.
They all do that.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, we had a little error right there in the taping. But anyway, so yeah, they're all scratch guys, and they won't tell you that. But now, since we talked about commercial roofing, let's go into some IKO Dynasty.
Yep.
And the things I like about it, the one minus we talked about the armor zone, and we've talked about we're starting to talk about. Let's talk warranty, right? All brands, I mean, the standard architectural shingle out there, 98% of the brands, or probably 100% of them on the standard architectural is going to be a 10-year non-prorated warranty,
Correct.
up to a 50-year. Let's say 50 years. That means 10 years is non-prorated, meaning all labor plus materials within reason is all paid for.
Right.
And then prorating is what?
So prorating is basically after a period of time. For us, it's 15 on Dynasty out of the wrapper. After that, basically the amount we value your roof at that point, right? And so you might lose a percentage here and there, and there's a whole schedule on our warranty page, which is on our site, and basically there's a schedule, and basically that amount just drops every 5 years. It kind of goes into.
It's just for
tier.
materials.
That's right. That's correct.
It's just materials only, and that's fine. And I was actually bringing it up the other day too of that. We have a 5-year labor warranty on our work, right? Now, we got a 3-year on caulking. You can upgrade it to 5, but my caulking is 3 years because you need it checked every year.
That's right.
I mean, I just went back to a house that was having a minor issue, and we fixed it, and it was the caulking had pulled away. Now, it's been 4 degrees.
Yep.
And now it's back to 50s and then 40s, and I don't know what it is outside today, but it's not 70.
And that's the thing about Tennessee, we have so many of these times that it's 23 degrees this day or 10 degrees this day. 2 days later, it's 70 degrees, right?
The thermal expansion is real.
And these houses are built, and they're built to move.
Yes.
And, having that much expansion and contraction stuff,
But things don't always go back sometimes where they're supposed to.
That's right.
And caulking's a big one. And that's the one because people go, well, don't you use 30-year caulk? I'm like, no, I don't use 30-year caulk because I can put that caulk, go to your window. I can put that bead right there and be nice and perfect. You come back in 30 years, that bead will probably be there, but your house will move and I can stick my knife right beside the window all the way into your living room.
Yeah.
So, no, it requires maintenance, and there's a certain point, the ownership's on you.
Right.
You should be, you go buy a car. I said last week, you go buy a car. They're going to give you a warranty, and they're going to take care of this and that, but you got to change the oil after 3,000 miles. They gave you the first one free. You got 3 years or 3 months or 3,000 miles or whatever it is.
Right.
Now, the rest is on you.
That's right.
You got to maintenance that, is my point.
That's right.
And you maintenance your car. People maintenance their car more than their roof, and they don't live in their car.
Yep.
I mean, don't get me on that. Hey, I'm on soapbox. I'll jump up and start preaching to the clouds. It kills me. But, hey, I'll raise my hand. I'm not going to throw a rock in a glass house. I was the same way until I got in this industry.
Absolutely.
Many moons ago, I'm like, who needs a roof? That's what I told Dwayne Reed when I called him to say, hey, crack a door open. I need to get another job. And everybody, I can do anything. Let's go.
Yeah. But we'll go cheap on the one thing that separates the elements from our heads and our family and our assets. But just is what it is.
But it's crazy. And so, but nevertheless, But the warranty, though, that's why I do like IKO. That's another reason, because the armor zone, that's my super number one. The second is I got 15 years out of the box. As long as it's installed properly, it's out of the box.
Yep.
That's 2/3, that's almost I'm not going to say 3/4, but it's almost 3/4 of the life of the roof, which by that time you should already be budgeting and saving anyhow.
Correct.
And you should have had it yearly inspections, and our team roofing be tell you, hey, you got some more years, and call us back next year. It's complimentary inspection.
Yeah.
By calling 615-500-0751, 500-0751. Call or text for all your roofing, siding, soffit, fascia, gutter needs. But anyways, you see what I did there? That's pretty good.
Hey, listen, I want to tell you about that is a real thing too. And when they say it's a complimentary inspection, it is that. It is not a hard sales pitch. It is not an upsell. I've been on those sites, with your customers and seen it. It is literally just a, hey, we did this roof. We believe in our work. We believe in you as our customer. We're going to come back and check that. So kudos to y'all on that.
Yep. But it's their responsibility to call us.
That's right.
That's it, right? Because that's the deal.
Yeah.
And that's anybody's. It's their responsibility to call. We don't door knock.
Right.
We don't come in and make you sign something that they're going to charge you 10% or 15% or whatever it is if you try to break the thing that you didn't know you were signing.
Right.
You call us and we come out, and if there's nothing wrong, I mean, it's a complimentary estimate.
Right.
Let me put it that way. It's an inspection and estimate. Hey, we saw this, and this, and saw that too. We don't do, but here's somebody we know that does that.
Right.
You might need to get that checked, but and here's your tune-up, or you got hail damage, or hey, this thing's dead.
Right.
Now, it's like coming down and telling somebody they lost an animal.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, because it's like I'll get up on the roof and I'll see it. There's no wind damage, no hail damage, but it's just gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a car with 220,000 miles. The rods threw out 5 miles ago. Oil's still dripping, but it's still running.
That's right.
Right? And I have to come down going, I can't repair that.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I can take your money and stop it for a moment.
Right.
Maybe buy you 3 months or a month, but you're going to be in this boat just,
By the way, that is done in this industry.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people who are willing to throw a Band-Aid on there and take some money.
But now I will put a Band-Aid on it while you budget, going, hey, let me get you 6 months. We can do at least for this. I'll at least do that, right? Let me help you. Now budget up. And if as soon as and I've had people, they'll call me, hey, I'm ready. I'm like, okay, let's go. And don't worry, I already took some off I'm not double dipping.
Right.
But we get a little something for coming out. Let's stop this.
Yeah.
But I could, I always say I can nickel and dime you every day of the week. Yeah. But to what benefit?
Right.
There is no benefit except that comes back to you.
Absolutely.
I'm a spiritual guy. I'm a Christian. But my point is the karma's real.
Absolutely.
I've lived it. I'm testifying now, if you know what I mean.
You reap what you sow, buddy.
I have my lashes that's come back and bit me, and it wasn't it wasn't a 1-to-1 to what you do.
Correct.
Right. It comes at you a different way, and it's just doing what's right.
That's right.
I always say I'm too daggone old anymore, and people go, "Oh, you're young," especially when you run into older people. And I'm 52, 53, be 53 this year, and they're like, "You're young." I'm like, "I get it, but I'm old. But I'm too daggone old to not do it right anymore."
That's right.
Now, if I was 20s, you might be subject. This might be subject, but it's you know what I mean.
It's maturity, it's growth. Man.
It is, and it's doing what's right because that pays you back more than you can imagine. It's not in dollars.
Absolutely.
And something we'll talk off the air. There's something that I'm getting some people together, and we're going to do some things this year. And so I want to talk to you up there, and then I'm going to release it out here. But me and a few people have been talking, and it's something different than maybe IKO or even you. It's whichever way. And can jump into, but I'm doing a little tease here because they got to keep up. It's our 10th year anniversary. Come this October 15th, we'll turn 10.
Right. That's incredible.
So, yeah, it's crazy. You talk about 6 years on you. I mean, I'm now in 10 into this thing, and it's still here, which blows my mind sometimes. It's not we do bad work. It's just how in the heck did...
Well, that's like I knew you and Dwayne from the previous place before all this got going. So I can't believe that's been 10 years. That's insane.
Yeah, and that goes back. That even goes back. So 2011 is when I started with Dwayne because I went to go, hey, crack a door open. He goes, come sell a roof. I said, who the heck needs a roof?
Right.
And 5 years later, I've started my company, and then 10 years later, here we are. So, it's 15 years, going on 15 years in this industry.
That's wild, man.
And I never, ever got my roof inspected prior to 15 years ago. Ever.
Yeah.
Ever. I've been on the construction side of it, right? I know that, hey, you nail it, do that, and then move on, but I've never been like buying a home. You get that home inspection when you buy the home.
Correct.
Right, Johnny Harper with J&J Home Inspections on last week, but I said, how often should you get another home inspection, or should you? It's about every 3 to 5 years, depending. Yeah, because stuff moves.
Absolutely.
Hey, it looked good then, but it might not now.
Absolutely.
Well, we're sitting here with Tate Sykes of IKO Roofing, is what I'm going to call it, but IKO. Great product, great company, great people sitting here. Well, that wasn't bad.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah,
This was great.
I really appreciate it. Really appreciate you coming out.
Hope to do it again sometime.
Didn't do it online. So, again, you can catch us again tonight from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. or find us on social media. We'll see you next week.